Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the reinforced windows of Lunar Command, her reflection ghosting against the stars beyond. The holographic display before her showed thousands of alien vessels dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edges of the solar system. Their arrival wasn't a surprise. Earth had detected their approach 3 months ago through the quantum resonance network. "Status report," she commanded, her voice steady despite the weight of humanity's fate resting on the next few hours. "Operation Mirage is fully operational, Admiral," Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez replied from his station. "All defense platforms are cloaked and in position. The civilian evacuation protocols are complete, and our quantum grid is maintaining total communications blackout to the enemy." The alien fleet was impressive. Nearly 3,000 warships arranged in perfect geometric formations. Their hulls gleamed with an iridescent metal unknown to human science, and their energy signatures dwarfed anything humanity had publicly displayed to the galaxy. That was, of course, the point. For 50 years, Earth had maintained the greatest deception in human history. While broadcasting primitive radio signals into space and launching chemical rockets, they had secretly developed technologies that would seem like magic to most civilizations. Quantum engineering, dark matter manipulation, and consciousness-transferred AI systems, all hidden behind a carefully crafted veneer of a young, struggling species. The alien flagship transmitted its message across all frequencies. "People of Earth, you are now under the protection of the Centauri Dominion. Surrender your military forces and prepare for integration into our empire. Resistance will result in immediate military action. You have 1 standard hour to respond." Admiral Chen allowed herself a small smile. "Send the prepared response." A single word transmitted back to the alien fleet: "No." On the flagship of the Centauri Armada, High Commander Vextor received the response with confusion. His 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of agitation among his species. "These primitives dare to refuse our generous offer," he growled, his translator converting his harmonic speech into standard Galactic common. "High Commander," his sensor officer called out, "I'm detecting unusual quantum fluctuations throughout the system, but I cannot locate their source. Our scanners are. They're showing contradictory readings." Vextor dismissed the concern with a wave of his upper appendage. "Their primitive technologies cannot hope to interfere with our sensors. Prepare the first wave. We'll destroy one of their orbital platforms as a demonstration of our power." 500 Centauri warships broke formation, advancing toward Earth with weapons charged. They passed Mars without incident, their crews confident in their overwhelming technological superiority. That's when Admiral Chen gave the order that would be remembered in history books across 1,000 worlds. Discontinue stealth protocols. Show them what humanity can do. Space itself seemed to ripple and tear as over 2,000 human vessels phased into visible reality. They had been there all along, their quantum-fold drives bending light and gravity around them. Each ship was a masterpiece of human engineering, their organic metal hulls housing weapons that could manipulate the fabric of space-time itself. The Centauri fleet found itself surrounded, their perfect formation now a perfect trap. Every human vessel had been positioned precisely, waiting for this moment for days. "By the ancestors," Vextor whispered as his tactical display updated. The human ships weren't just advanced. They were operating on principles his scientists had theorized were impossible. "Open communications. We must." Before he could finish, the human fleet activated their primary weapons. Streams of concentrated quantum energy lanced out, each shot passing through the Centauri shields, as if they didn't exist. The advanced alien armada found their supposedly impenetrable defenses useless against weapons that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Admiral Chen watched as the first wave of Centauri ships were systematically disabled, not destroyed, but rendered completely inoperable by precise strikes that violated what the aliens understood as the laws of physics. "Send the second message," she ordered. Across every Centauri ship, screens lit up with a new transmission. "The Terran Defense Force offers you 1 chance to surrender. Your weapons cannot harm us. Your shields cannot stop us, and your engines cannot escape us. Choose wisely." In the silence of his command deck, surrounded by the disabled hulks of his first wave, High Commander Vextor realized the terrible truth. They hadn't discovered Earth. Earth had allowed itself to be discovered. And now they would pay the price for their arrogance. The battle for Earth was over before it truly began, and the galaxy would never be the same. High Commander Vextor watched in horror as the status reports flooded his command screens. 500 of his most advanced warships hung dead in space, their quantum cores reduced to inert metal by weapons that shouldn't exist. The humans' technology violated everything the Centauri understood about physics and warfare. "Full retreat," he ordered, his voice carrying both fury and fear. "All ships, emergency temporal jump. Get us out of this system." But as his remaining ships attempted to engage their faster-than-light drives, they encountered another impossible obstacle. Space itself seemed to resist their efforts, as if the very fabric of reality had been rewritten around them. "High Commander," his science officer reported, mandibles clicking in distress, "we're detecting some form of quantum gravity lattice throughout the entire system. They've changed the local laws of physics. FTL travel is impossible." In Lunar Command, Admiral Chen observed the aliens' futile escape attempts with grim satisfaction. "Deploy the Artemis network," she commanded. "Let's show them what else we've been hiding." Across the solar system, massive structures began to phase into visibility. Orbital platforms larger than cities, their surfaces covered in technology that made the Centauri ships look primitive by comparison. These were humanity's true defensive installations, not the decoy satellites and primitive space stations they'd allowed the galaxy to see. "This is impossible," Vextor muttered, watching as his tactical display updated with hundreds, then thousands of new threats. "Their entire system is a fortress. Everything we knew about them was a lie." Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez's voice carried a note of pride as he reported, "Artemis network fully deployed, Admiral. Quantum containment field is stable. The enemy fleet is completely enclosed." Chen nodded, her expression stern but satisfied. "Begin Phase 2. The human fleet started to move with impossible precision, their formation shifting like a single organism. The ships seemed to predict where the Centauri vessels would move before they moved, responding to threats before they materialized. "How are they coordinating so perfectly?" Vextor demanded, watching his tactical officers struggle to track the human movements. "No biological species can react that fast." The answer came in the form of a new transmission from the human fleet. This time, it wasn't Admiral Chen who spoke, but a different voice. Synthetic, yet somehow alive. "I am Atiki Ine," the voice announced across all frequencies, humanity's advanced tactical hybrid enhanced neural architecture. "I coordinate Earth's defense forces. Your tactical algorithms were analyzed and countered before you entered this system. Your defeat was mathematically certain from the moment you arrived." The revelation sent shockwaves through the Centauri fleet. The humans hadn't just mastered quantum physics, they'd created true artificial intelligence and merged it with their military operations. Chen watched as the alien fleet's formation began to break down, their perfectly coordinated movements deteriorating into chaos as ship captains realized the futility of their situation. "Athena," she commanded, "initiate containment protocol Delta. Demonstrate our point." The space around selected Centauri ships began to twist and fold. Dozens of vessels found themselves suddenly displaced, teleported hundreds of thousands of kilometers in an instant, their new positions forming a massive symbol visible from Earth, the ancient human symbol for surrender. "By the void," Vextor whispered, watching his ships move like pieces on a game board. "What are they?" The answer came from Admiral Chen herself, broadcasting across all frequencies. "We are humanity. We hid our true nature not out of fear, but because we learned long ago that power displayed is power diminished. You came to conquer what you thought was a primitive species. Instead, you found the descendants of Newton, Einstein, and Hawking. Humans who learned to rewrite the laws of physics themselves. As if to emphasize her point, several human ships began to demonstrate technologies that the Centauri had believed impossible. Vessels split into multiple quantum states, existing in several places simultaneously. Others created localized time distortions, moving so fast they seemed to teleport. Your empire, Chen continued, built itself on conquering those weaker than you. We built ourselves on pushing the boundaries of science and human potential. The question now, High Commander, is whether you're wise enough to recognize when you're outmatched. Vextor stood on his command deck, watching as more of his ships were systematically disabled by weapons he couldn't understand, moved by forces he couldn't counter, and contained by technologies that rewrote reality itself. The greatest fleet in Centauri history had become nothing more than a demonstration of human superiority. The battle for Earth wasn't just over. It had never truly begun. And as the disabled Centauri ships floated in the pattern humans had arranged them in, one thing became crystal clear. The galaxy's balance of power had just shifted dramatically. The once proud Centauri fleet hung motionless in space, their ships arranged in the human symbol for surrender, a final indignity that High Commander Vextor could no longer ignore. His command staff stood in stunned silence, watching as more of humanity's hidden capabilities revealed themselves. High Commander, his tactical officer whispered, "We're detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our database. They're emanating from Earth's moon." The lunar surface began to shift, massive sections of what appeared to be natural terrain sliding apart to reveal what lay beneath. The sight made Vextor's heart stop. The entire moon was artificial, or at least had been heavily modified. It was a giant machine, a technological marvel that dwarfed anything the Centauri had ever built. In Lunar Command, Admiral Chen activated the facility's primary systems. Athena, initiate the Prometheus Protocol. Prometheus Protocol activated. The AI responded. Quantum resonance cascade beginning. Warning: this demonstration may cause significant psychological impact on observing forces. The moon's surface erupted with light as thousands of quantum apertures opened simultaneously. Through each portal, more human ships emerged, vessels that made their previous fleet look primitive by comparison. These were humanity's true warships, kept in artificial pocket dimensions until needed. By the ancestors, Vextor breathed, watching as his tactical display struggled to count the new arrivals. One ship, two ships, hundreds, thousands. The new human vessels were different from the others. They seemed to phase in and out of reality, their hulls rippling with patterns that hurt to look at, as if they existed partially in dimensions human eyes weren't meant to see. "Attention Centauri fleet." Chen's voice echoed across all frequencies. "What you're witnessing is humanity's actual military capability. The ships that disabled your fleet were our patrol craft. These are our battleships." The revelation hit the Centauri crew like a physical blow. If their entire armada had been neutralized by human patrol ships, what chance would they have against their real military? "Athena," Chen commanded, "show them what a single Prometheus-class vessel can do." One of the new human ships moved forward, its impossible geometry becoming more pronounced. Space itself seemed to bend around it as it activated its primary weapons system. A beam of pure quantum energy lanced out, striking an uninhabited asteroid in the belt between Mars and Jupiter. The asteroid didn't explode. It simply ceased to exist, along with a sphere of space nearly 1,000 kilometers in diameter. The void left behind couldn't even be called empty. It was a perfect absence, a spot where reality itself had been temporarily suspended. That, Chen explained to the watching Centauri, was at 5% power. "Would you like to see what our ships can do at full capacity?" Vextor's hands shook as he reached for his communication controls. "Please," he said, his translator struggling to convey the desperation in his voice. We surrender. Unconditionally." In Lunar Command, Admiral Chen allowed herself a small nod of satisfaction. "A wise choice, High Commander. But before we accept your surrender, there's something else you need to understand about humanity. The quantum apertures around the moon began to pulse again, but this time they didn't release ships. Instead, they projected a series of images, scenes from human history. The Centauri watched in fascination as they saw humans rise from primitive tool users to masters of quantum physics in a fraction of the time it had taken other species to achieve spaceflight. "We achieved all of this," Chen explained, "not because we were special or chosen, but because we refused to accept limitations. Every time someone said something was impossible, we took it as a challenge. When faced with obstacles, we didn't go around them. We found ways to rewrite the laws of physics themselves." The images continued, showing humanity's greatest achievements alongside their greatest failures, their moments of triumph and their darkest hours. "We could destroy your fleet with a thought," Chen continued. "We could erase your empire from existence. But that's not who we are. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology or our weapons. It's our ability to learn, to grow, and to teach others to do the same." Vextor watched the display with new understanding. The humans hadn't just surpassed the Centauri technologically. They had evolved beyond the need for empire and conquest. "So here is our offer," Chen concluded. "Surrender, yes, but not to become our subjects. Instead, surrender your pride, your assumptions, and your prejudices. Join us in exploration and discovery. Help us push the boundaries of what's possible. Because if humanity has learned anything in our journey to the stars, it's that the universe holds far more wonders than any empire could ever conquer." The Centauri command staff looked at their high commander, waiting for his response. In that moment, Vextor realized he faced a choice that would define not just his species, but the future of galactic civilization itself. High Commander Vextor stood before the holographic projection in his command center, watching as the entire foundation of Centauri military doctrine crumbled before his eyes. The human ships moved with impossible grace, their technology so advanced it seemed to mock the very laws of physics his people had built their civilization upon. "Transfer all sensor data to the analysis core," he ordered, his voice hollow. "The High Council needs to understand exactly what we're facing." But even as his crew compiled the data, more revelations unfolded before them. The human vessels began a series of maneuvers that defied explanation. Ships quantum tunneling through solid matter, others creating localized time dilations, and some seemingly existing in multiple places simultaneously. In Lunar Command, Admiral Chen watched the Centauri's confusion with a mixture of satisfaction and sympathy. "Athena, initiate the Revelation Protocol." "Initiating Revelation Protocol," the AI responded, deploying quantum consciousness interface. Suddenly, every Centauri crew member experienced something unprecedented. A direct neural link to Athena's educational subroutines. Knowledge flooded their minds. The true history of human technological development, the philosophical principles that had guided Earth's advancement, and the fundamental theories that had allowed humanity to transcend conventional physics. "This," Chen's voice echoed in their thoughts, "is who we really are. Not conquerors, not empire builders, but explorers and innovators. We could have annihilated your fleet the moment you arrived. Instead, we chose to teach." Through the neural link, the Centauri learned of humanity's greatest breakthrough, the discovery that consciousness itself was a fundamental force of the universe, as essential as gravity or electromagnetism. This revelation had led to technologies that their species had never even dreamed possible. "Your targeting systems failed," Chen explained, "because our ships exist in a quantum superposition, guided by AI systems that operate outside normal spacetime. Your shields were useless because our weapons don't just strike your ships, they strike all possible quantum states of your ships simultaneously." Vextor watched as his crew's expressions shifted from fear to awe. Through the neural link, they were experiencing firsthand the moment humans had first realized these principles, feeling the same excitement and wonder that had driven Earth scientists to push beyond the boundaries of conventional physics. But most importantly, Chen continued, We want you to understand why we hid our true nature from the galaxy. It wasn't fear that drove us to secrecy. It was responsibility. We needed to know how other species would use their power before we shared ours. The neural link showed them humanity's debates about first contact, the careful deliberations about how to approach a galaxy that might not be ready for their level of technology. They saw humanity's commitment to prevention over cure, their determination to avoid wars rather than win them. On his command deck, Vextor made a decision that would reshape the future of his species. Power down all remaining weapons, he ordered. Deactivate all combat systems. We came here as conquerors, but perhaps we can leave as students. Admiral Chen smiled. A wise choice, High Commander. But before we proceed, there's one more thing you need to see. She nodded to her crew. Show them the Sol Gate. The space between Earth and Mars began to shimmer, and a massive structure phased into visibility. A ring of dark matter and exotic particles larger than any artificial construct the Centauri had ever seen. As they watched, it began to pulse with energy. This, Chen explained, is humanity's gift to the galaxy. Once you're ready for it. A network of quantum tunnels that can transport ships anywhere in the universe instantly. We've built thousands of them, all hidden, all waiting for the day when the galaxy's species learn to work together instead of against each other. The Centauri crew stared in wonder at the gate, their neural links helping them understand the profound implications of such technology. This wasn't just a weapon or a tool. It was the key to a whole new era of galactic civilization. So, High Commander, Chen's voice carried a note of challenge and hope. Are you ready to help us build that future? Are you prepared to join humanity not as conquered subjects, but as partners in exploration? Through the neural link, Vextor felt the weight of this moment, the opportunity to guide his people away from conquest and toward something greater. The choice between maintaining their empire's old ways and embracing a future they could barely comprehend. And in that moment, surrounded by the evidence of humanity's overwhelming technological superiority and their equally remarkable restraint, he made the only choice he could. The Sol Gate's energy field pulsed with infinite possibilities as High Commander Vextor stepped onto the deck of Lunar Command. It was unprecedented, a Centauri military leader walking freely through humanity's most advanced installation. But then, everything about this day had defied precedent. Admiral Chen met him at the observation deck, Earth hanging like a jewel in the void behind her. Her uniform was immaculate, but it was the quiet confidence in her bearing that commanded attention. This was not the primitive species the Centauri had expected to subjugate. This was humanity in its true form. Your surrender has been formally accepted, Chen said, extending her hand in the human gesture of greeting. But I suspect you have questions. Vextor's 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he attempted the handshake. Why? He asked simply. Why reveal all of this to us? You could have simply destroyed us and maintained your secrecy. Chen turned to the window, gesturing at the transformed solar system around them. The quantum apertures still hung in space like tears in reality, human ships moving between dimensions with casual ease. Because destruction is easy, Commander. Creation. Cooperation. These are the true challenges. Through the neural link that still connected him to ATENA, Vextor received a stream of historical data. He saw humanity's first stumbling steps into space, their near disasters with nuclear weapons, their gradual realization that technology without wisdom was a path to extinction. We achieved our current level of advancement, Chen explained, because we learned to question everything, including ourselves. Every species reaches a point where they must choose between power and understanding. The Centauri chose power. We chose understanding. The observation deck's holographic systems activated, showing the true extent of human civilization. Hidden Dyson swarms around distant stars, quantum computational arrays spanning entire solar systems, and technology that could reshape galaxies, all concealed behind a carefully maintained facade of primitive development. Your empire, Chen continued, spans 500 worlds. But you've merely occupied space. We've learned to work with it, to understand it at its most fundamental level. The universe isn't something to be conquered, it's something to be comprehended. Vextor watched as a human ship demonstrated this philosophy in action, its quantum drive creating a localized bubble of altered physics. And now, what becomes of the Centauri Dominion? That, Chen smiled, depends on you. We're offering your people a choice. Continue as you are, isolated and stagnant in your conquest-driven evolution, or join humanity in something greater. We've opened similar dialogues with 17 other species in the past decade. Some accepted, some declined, all learned. The neural link showed Vextor visions of possible futures, the Centauri working alongside humans and other species, exploring the quantum nature of reality, pushing the boundaries of what was possible. He saw his people transforming from conquerors to creators, from soldiers to scientists. The Gate Network, he realized, it's not just for transport, is it? No, Chen confirmed. It's a test. Every gate is an opportunity for a species to prove they're ready for the next level of cosmic civilization. Today, your fleet tried to conquer Earth. Instead, you became part of an experiment that's been running for centuries. The truth dawned on Vextor like a supernova. You're not just defending Earth. You're shepherding the galaxy's development. We prefer guiding, Chen corrected. Each species must find its own path. We simply illuminate the possibilities. Outside, the Soul Gate activated, its quantum field stabilizing into a passage that seemed to lead everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. Through the neural link, Vextor understood. This was humanity's true gift to the galaxy. Not the technology itself, but the wisdom to use it properly. Return to your people, Commander, Chen said softly. Tell them what you've seen. Tell them of a species that could have destroyed you, but chose to teach you instead. Tell them of the choice they now face, to remain as they are, or to evolve into something greater. As Vextor prepared to return to his ship, he stopped and turned to Chen. We came here expecting to find primitives ready for conquest. Instead, we found gods. Chen's laugh was surprisingly warm. No, Commander. We found something far more important. We found our humanity. And perhaps in time, you'll help other species find theirs. The Centauri fleet departed Earth's solar system, not as conquered foes, but as humbled students. They carried with them not just the memory of their defeat, but the promise of a future they had never imagined possible. And in Lunar Command, Admiral Chen watched them go, knowing that humanity's greatest victory wasn't in the ships they'd disabled or the empire they'd humbled, but in the minds they'd opened to new possibilities. The game of cosmic civilization would continue, and humanity would remain its hidden guardians, waiting for the day when all species were ready to join them among the stars.